If your child has a fever that will not break, that heat means something very specific in our tradition, and it has nothing to do with the number on the thermometer your doctor keeps asking about. The number is just the surface. What our grandmothers watched for was where the heat was being held and whether the body was finding a way to let it go. Listen to me. The Amish have known this for generations, going back to the old country before any of our families crossed the water. We have raised children through every kind of fever in our farmhouses, in winter and in summer, with nothing more than what was on the kitchen shelf. But your doctor will not tell you any of this. He will look at the thermometer, tell you a number is fine and a number is bad, tell you to give the syrup, tell you to bring the child in only if it climbs higher. None of it asks where the heat is sitting. None of it does the work the kitchen does. A hot little body, dry skin, a child who will not settle. All common signs that the heat has nowhere to go. Most mothers who come to me have been pacing the hallway for hours. Their child is whimpering in the crib, the back of the neck is damp, but the arms are dry, and the mother keeps lifting the small body up to feel for sweat that is not coming. They tried the syrup on schedule. They tried wiping the child down with a cool washcloth. They tried opening the window, and the heat would not move. Listen to me. You are not failing. You were given the wrong answer for years. The syrup did not work because the syrup hides the heat instead of helping it leave. The cool cloth on the forehead did not work because the heat is sitting under the arms and along the chest, not at the brow. The body needs help opening the doors where heat actually escapes, and nothing in a pharmacy bottle teaches it how. I'm going to show you 4 things you already have in your kitchen that will open those doors within hours. There is one part almost every mother gets wrong, and if you miss it, the fever drops for the evening and rises right back before sunrise. Before we go further, leave a comment with your age and how many times you or your child have run a fever this year. I read every single comment on this channel. Now let me show you what is really happening inside that small body. To understand why this remedy works the way it does, you have to understand what a fever actually is. A fever is not the sickness. The fever is the body's response to the sickness. Think of the body as a small farmhouse with a wood stove inside. When something dangerous gets in, a virus or a bacteria, the body turns the stove up on purpose. The heat is meant to make the inside of the house too uncomfortable for the invader to survive. This is the body fighting. This is the body doing its work. But here is what almost no one talks about. A house with a wood stove burning hot also needs windows. The heat has to have somewhere to go, or the whole house gets too hot for the people living inside it. In the body, the windows are the skin. The skin is supposed to open up, let the blood flow close to the surface, and release the heat into the air around it. When that works the way it should, the fever rises, fights what needs to be fought, and then breaks. The forehead beads with sweat, the cheeks cool, and the child falls into a deep sleep. Now think about what changes when a child gets sick over and over again, or when a fever hangs on for days. The wood stove keeps burning, but the windows are not opening the way they should. The heat sits in the deep places of the body. It pools under the arms, along the chest, in the small of the back. The skin on the forehead might feel hot to your hand, but the real heat is being held lower, where you cannot feel it as easily. This is why the cold cloth on the forehead never works the way mothers hope. You are wiping the chimney while the stove keeps burning hotter inside the house. There are 3 things that change as a child grows from a baby into a toddler and then into a small child. The skin gets less responsive, the sweat glands take longer to open, and the small body has a harder time regulating its own temperature than an adult body does. This is why fevers can feel so much more dramatic in a child than in a grown person. The systems that should be releasing the heat are still learning how to work together. Now here is the part that ties all of this back to something almost no one will tell you about. The body's ability to fight infection in the first place and to recover from one cleanly depends on something most mothers have never been told. It depends on the gut. By the time a child has been on 2 or 3 rounds of antibiotics in their early years, by the time they have been eating processed snacks and drinking sweet juices for a few years, the gut has lost a large portion of the beneficial bacteria it was born with. Some studies suggest that the average gut, by the age of 6, has already lost a significant share of the helpful bacteria that were there in infancy. Why does this matter for a fever? Because the gut is where most of the immune system actually lives. More than 70% of the immune cells in the body sit in the gut wall, waiting to do their work. When the gut bacteria are healthy, those immune cells fight cleanly and recover quickly. When the gut bacteria are weak or out of balance, the immune system overreacts, the fevers run longer, and the body has a harder time releasing the heat when the fight is over. The gut needs 3 things to do this work, and this is where almost everyone gets confused. The gut needs the good bacteria themselves, the ones that live in the gut wall and stand guard. The gut needs the fiber that those bacteria eat, because without food, the bacteria starve. And the gut needs the healing compounds that the bacteria produce when they eat that fiber, because those compounds are what calm the inflammation and seal the gut wall. Think of it like a small garden. You need the seeds, you need the soil, and you need the rain. If any one of those 3 is missing, the garden does not grow. Here is what every mother needs to understand. As long as the gut is producing inflammation, as long as the immune system is overreacting because its home is not in order, fevers will keep running longer and harder than they need to. The remedy I am about to show you will draw the heat out of the body within hours. But the reason the fevers keep coming back, the reason your child gets sick every few weeks while the neighbor's child seems to bounce back faster, that lives in the gut. The surface and the root are 2 different places, and we have to address both. Now let me show you the remedy. 4 things from your kitchen and exactly how they work together. The first ingredient is apple cider vinegar, raw, unfiltered, with the cloudy strands at the bottom of the bottle, the kind that has the mother in it. You will use 2 tablespoons. Apple cider vinegar has been used for fevers for hundreds of years because of what it does to the skin. The mild acid in the vinegar opens the small openings in the skin and helps the surface release heat that has been trapped underneath. It also helps draw heat outward through the lymph nodes, which is why we apply it where the lymph sits closest to the surface. The second ingredient is witch hazel. You will use 2 tablespoons. Witch hazel is something every Amish kitchen has kept on the shelf for as long as I can remember. It is a gentle astringent, which means it helps the small blood vessels just under the skin tighten and relax in a rhythm. That rhythm is what helps the heat move from the deep places to the surface. Without witch hazel, the apple cider vinegar opens the door, but the body does not always know how to walk through it. With witch hazel, the door opens and the body steps forward. I want to tell you about a mother who came to me last year. Patricia, a retired school teacher from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, was caring for her 4-year-old grandson while his parents were traveling for work. The boy spiked a fever on the 2nd day. By the 4th day, his fever was still hanging around 102 degrees, climbing higher in the evenings. She had given the syrup on schedule. She had taken him to the after-hours clinic where they checked his ears and his throat and sent her home with the same advice she already had. What was overlooked was that the boy had been on antibiotics 3 times in the past year for ear infections, and his little body had simply forgotten how to recover cleanly. She came to me on the 5th morning, pale and exhausted. I taught her this exact remedy. Within 3 hours of the first application, his fever dropped from 102 to 99.6. By the next morning, the fever was gone. 3 weeks later, she called me to say his recovery had been roughly 70% faster than the last time he had been sick. She told me through tears. I felt like I had my hands back, like I could finally help him instead of just watching him. The third ingredient is the juice of half a lemon, freshly squeezed, not from a bottle. The bottle juice has been pasteurized and the living parts of the lemon have been cooked out of it. Fresh lemon juice does 2 things at once. It adds another layer of mild acid that helps the skin breathe. and it carries vitamin C in a form the skin can absorb directly when it sits against the body. The lemon also has a cooling quality that the old herbalists noticed long before anyone could explain why. When you smell a fresh lemon, you can feel it open something in your chest. It does the same thing on the skin. The fourth ingredient is cinnamon. Just 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, the regular kind from your spice rack. This is the ingredient that surprises most mothers because they expect cinnamon to be warming, not cooling. And it is warming on the inside of the body when you eat it. But on the outside of the body, when it is mixed with these other ingredients, cinnamon does something different. It increases circulation right where you apply it. It pulls blood to the surface faster. And blood that comes to the surface is blood that releases heat into the air. The cinnamon is what turns this remedy from a cool wipe into something that actively pulls the fever outward. Here is how to mix it. Take a small bowl, add the 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, add the 2 tablespoons of witch hazel, squeeze in the juice of half a lemon, sprinkle in the 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, stir it gently with a spoon until the cinnamon is mixed through. The mixture should be cool, not cold. Room temperature is exactly right. If it has been sitting in the refrigerator, take it out for a few minutes before you use it. Now take a soft cotton cloth, a piece of an old t-shirt works perfectly, and fold it into 2 small squares about the size of your palm. Soak both squares in the mixture. Wring them out so they are damp but not dripping. Place 1 square gently under your child's left armpit and 1 under the right armpit. The armpit is where the lymph nodes sit closest to the surface, and the lymph is one of the body's main pathways for releasing heat. This is exactly why our grandmothers always place the cloths there, not on the forehead, where the heat does not actually live, under the arms, where the heat is being held. Leave the cloths in place for 10 to 15 minutes. You can hold your child in your lap, you can sing to them, you can read to them. After 15 minutes, remove the cloths. Pat the area gently with a dry cotton towel. Then dress your child in light, loose cotton clothing, not flannel, not a sleeper that zips up to the neck. Light cotton that lets the skin keep breathing. You can repeat this every 2 to 3 hours through the day and evening. Most mothers see the fever begin to drop within the first hour after the first application. By the second application, the child is calmer and beginning to sweat in the small, natural way that means the body is finally releasing the heat. By the third application, most fevers have dropped by 1 to 2 full degrees. In the first day, you should see the fever begin to break. In the first 3 days, you should see your child returning to themselves, eating again, asking for water, falling into a real sleep instead of the restless half-sleep of fever. In the first week, you should see them recovered, with energy back in their step. But here is what every mother needs to understand. This soak will quiet the fever within hours. Your child will cool down. Your child will sleep. The danger of this particular fever will pass. But the fevers will keep coming back if the gut keeps producing the inflammation that started the cycle in the first place. The soak handles the heat that is here right now. The gut is what decides whether your child is back in bed again 3 weeks from now with another one. And the way I tend my own gut every single day, the way the women in my family have for generations, is with kombucha, because the gut needs 3 things to do its work. The good bacteria themselves, the fiber that feeds them, and the healing compounds those bacteria produce when they eat. Most things give you only one of these. Kombucha is one of the few things on earth that gives you all 3 at once. And it is those healing compounds that calm the inflammation, repair the gut wall, and stop the body from producing the very thing that starts these long fevers in the first place. I make my own kombucha at home because I have the time and the knowledge. But for everyone watching online who can't brew their own, I give BoochBod Kombucha Gummies. The link is in the description, or you can search BoochBod Kombucha Gummies on Amazon. Now let me tell you the part of this remedy almost every mother gets wrong. After they apply the cloths under the arms, they pull the cloths off after 15 minutes, pat the skin dry, and bundle the child up in a blanket because the child is cold or shivering or asking to be held warm. They tuck the blanket up to the chin. They pile a second blanket on top. They want their child to feel comforted and safe, and the instinct of every mother is to wrap a sick child up the way you would wrap a gift. This is the mistake, and I want you to understand why, because no one explains it. The whole point of this remedy is to teach the body to release heat through the skin. The cloths open the doors. The cinnamon pulls the blood to the surface. The lemon and the vinegar help the skin breathe. The body has just spent 15 minutes learning how to let the heat go, and then the mother covers it all up with 2 heavy blankets, and the heat that was about to escape gets trapped right back inside the body. Why do mothers do this? Because we have been taught for generations to bundle a sick child. Because the child shivers and cries when the blanket comes off. Because every part of a mother's instinct says that warmth equals safety. The marketing for cold remedies and the advice in every parenting book reinforces this. Keep your child warm. Keep them covered. Let them sweat it out under the blankets. But sweating it out under heavy blankets is the opposite of what the body is trying to do during a fever. The body is trying to send the heat out. Heavy blankets send the heat back in. Within an hour after the cloths come off, the child's temperature begins to climb again. By morning, the fever is back to where it was the night before. The mother thinks the remedy did not work. She blames herself. She does not realize that the remedy worked exactly the way it was supposed to, and the blanket undid every minute of it. I have watched this happen in my own family. A young mother in our community came to me 2 winters ago, her face streaked with tears, telling me the remedy had failed her son. I asked her what she did after she took the cloths off. She told me she wrapped him in his thickest quilt because he was shivering. I told her gently, "The shivering is the body finding the new lower temperature. He is not cold. He is recalibrating." She had not been told this by anyone, and she had no reason to know. Here is the right thing to do. After you take the cloths off, dress your child in light cotton, a simple cotton shirt and cotton pants, a single light cotton sheet over them, no more. If they are shivering, hold them close against your own body for a few minutes. Your body warmth is steady, and it does not trap heat the way a heavy blanket does. The shivering passes within 5 or 10 minutes. After that, your child will settle into a calm, cool sleep. The skin will keep doing the work of releasing heat all through the night, and in the morning, the fever will be lower than the night before, not higher. This is what makes the remedy actually work. The cloths plus the light cotton, not the cloths plus the heavy quilt. The remedy alone is not the medicine. The remedy plus letting the body finish its work is the medicine. What you are really protecting is the moment when your child climbs into your arms in the morning, eyes clear, asking for breakfast, the long night already behind them. It is never too late to learn what your own grandmother might have known if anyone had thought to tell her. The body of a child still knows how to heal itself, and a mother's hands still know how to help when the kitchen is the first pharmacy you reach for. If this video has helped you, subscribe to the channel so the next one finds you. I make these videos for the mothers and grandmothers who have been forgotten by the clinics, and the only way more of them find me is when good souls like you bring them along. Share this with your daughter, the one who has been pacing the hallway with a hot little child in her arms. Tell me in the comments which one of the 4 ingredients surprised you most. I read every single comment on this channel. The BoochBod Kombucha Gummies I mentioned earlier are linked in the description, or you can search them on Amazon whenever you are ready. Until next time.